Do you think it would be possible for you to meet and become close friends with a celebrity?
Do you think the best time in your life is in the past, present, or future?
Do you think you would have been a very different person if you had different parents?
Also, comfy vibes on this couch.
Yeah.
We got to do more couch
Yeah.
episodes at some point. This is way more fun.
Hello and welcome to Milliseconds Apart, a podcast where we just chat about pretty much anything we feel like. The intros become less and less intense each time we do it. At some point it's just going to be hello.
Milliseconds Apart.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello there. Anyway, so in this episode we played a little bit of a card game called the Hygge Game, right over here, where we each answered some questions. My name is Izzy. I'm a final year medical student at Cambridge.
I'm Rudy and I'm also a medical student.
I'm Matt, and the best chocolate bars are Kit Kats.
Ooh.
Oh,
Is this inspired by the peach?
Yeah,
Kit
I don't
Kat,
think
Kit
that's a
Kat?
hot take at all. I think that is, they add so much variety with the crunch. It's not the highest quality chocolate, as we have discussed, but also the variety of flavors. That's another great thing going
yeah.
for Kit Kats. They're so complex, but every single time there's that consistent. Oh,
That's
so
true.
good.
It's always very crispy. It never goes
yeah.
soggy.
Never.
I don't know how they do
You
it.
think so? I think
Oh.
you guys have never been in like high humidity countries. Maybe
Oh.
maybe you guys
Yeah,
never
that's
had
fair.
that one, because in Japan, if you would like have it for a month, let's say,
Yeah.
it's really like weird. It's not crunchy at
Really?
all. It's like kind of
Interesting.
it's really
Okay,
weird.
well, I mean, I don't think
Yeah.
I ever keep Kit Kats for a month, so maybe
Yeah.
that's
Well, they all
Maybe
get
yeah.
consumed as soon as
Yeah.
they arrive.
Yeah. Well, here we go.
This is a game that I got gifted recently by a friend for my birthday, actually, a little while ago. Wait, was it birthday? Something like that. Christmas. Anyway, it's called the Hygge Game. Essentially, there's little cards with questions that are kind of a little bit more probing than just the day-to-day kinds of questions. There isn't really a specific fixed format for playing the game, but how I propose that we play today is that... Oh, thank you. Each of us take a card from the stack. And then on the card, have a look at it, there should be 3 questions. If we each pick one that we would like to ask the group, then we choose someone to ask it to, and after that person has answered, then the other people will also answer the same question.
Actually, this is kind of relevant to our friend, not to our friendship, but to our group, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm picking like either of you guys
Yeah.
to ask. Okay.
Wait, are we doing round robin? Or are we just doing one?
So
I wasn't listening. Sorry.
Yeah, me too. I was like, I hope Matt
You the
starts first
questions.
so that I can figure it out. But then it's like,
Sorry.
okay, so since I know Matt's answer, I want to go with easy.
ooh.
Do you think it would be possible for you to meet and become close friends with a celebrity? And would you consider YouTubers as a celebrity?
And is this if I want to meet one or just happen to meet one?
If it'd be possible for
Yeah.
you to meet one.
I think definitely it would be possible, because I think at the end of the day, celebrities or YouTubers or anyone on this earth is just at the end of the day a person, and generally people want to connect with other people. If they genuinely see that you're there, you're willing to connect with them and actually share your life with them and listen to them as well and have that exchange, then I don't know, I think it's so possible. Obviously not every single celebrity or every single famous person would be open to that. Some people are really happy with the friends that they have. They don't want to meet anyone else or really like get involved with getting to know many more people. But 100% there are people out there that there would be. And I think what Matt was saying earlier was this idea of not treating them like they're on a pedestal or like they're different, because they're not. And at the end of the day, I don't think they want to be treated like they're different necessarily. Maybe some of them
Or if
do.
they do, screw them.
Yeah, well, they can do that if they want. But if you come to them just as you are, without worrying about putting them on a pedestal or anything, then just see how they respond. And I think it's 100% possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also think it's 100% possible. And I feel like they're more likely to looking for a pure friendship than regular people, because majority of the people that are coming to them are coming like really opportunistic, and they're trying to use them. Or maybe there is like maybe they're not aware of that, but maybe their like background of their friendship is coming from, I don't know, like maybe from like opportunistic place.
Yeah.
Maybe the person is not even aware of that, but when you are, let's say, a celebrity or a YouTuber or whatever, you can clearly see that. And I feel like you start to feel really alone. I'm not claiming that I'm a celebrity or anything, but some people treat me as their idol, and I can clearly see the difference between people who treat me idol versus people who treat me as a friend. And you know, I formed a couple of friendships from social media because they were treating me as a friend. If they would treat me as an idol, I don't think I can become genuinely friends with them.
Yeah, because I guess if like I imagine if someone's treating you like an idol, you can't really go beyond just that.
Yeah.
That like, oh my gosh, can't believe you responded.
Yeah,
kind of
exactly.
thing. Which like I guess that appreciation is probably like quite nice, but you can't really go beyond that.
Yeah.
Because like, what do you say then? You're like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, what more do you say? There's no more discussion there.
Yeah. And also, I feel like there is some sort of pressure in you that you want to keep this perfect image in front of that person. So you don't really want to show your human side, or maybe your like insecurities and stuff. You want to keep that level of respect.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and that idea too, not just with celebrities, but with people in general, there is. I don't want to say it's most, because I don't know that for a fact, but so often, and I've been guilty of it plenty of times in the past, of approaching people with the idea mentality of what can they do for me. But everything changes for the better whenever it instead shifts first and foremost, at least most of the time, to, hey, what can I provide to this person? Even if that's, hey, I can provide a smile, I can provide some energy, I can provide some perspective, whatever.
Yeah.
But whenever we shift it for that, there's something where we can feel that, right? And like, you know, out of the three of us, my guess is going to be you're the one that most people have looked at as opportunistically, right? Because that's that idea with social media even, right? There's this idea of the metrics. Oh, what can I get from this, right?
Yeah.
Tweet something out for me, like follow me here, do those sorts of things. Whereas I would imagine that would just get exhausting. And instead, like, we can form genuine relationships whenever we approach things where we actually are first and foremost trying to give something, right? We're not just trying to take.
Yeah.
Because so often that's the case. And it's like, that leads to shallow relationships, if you could even call them that.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing that I realized, I probably learned the hard way, was that often in the past I would think that friendships should be kind of 50-50. And then if you feel like the other person's not quite 50-50, they're like 45, like 55, then I would feel like hard done by or something like that. And then I would react emotionally in a way. But in a way, like, I think something I've realized over time is, well, what's the point of worrying about that, really? Like, why can't you just be happy with providing a bit more of the extra energy? Maybe you aren't even. Maybe on their end, they are seeing it the other way around.
Love that.
That could just be your perspective on it. So just sort of like I don't know, just roll with it and just be willing to like give a little bit more. I absolutely love that. Like, what can we give in a situation? How can we sort of serve the other person rather than just serving ourselves? And I think that's something that I've really had to like learn over the last maybe 6 or 7 years or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, in the long run, things even them out. Things even themselves out.
Yeah.
Right? Because especially if we're trying to have relationships with people, we want it to be for the long term. And money's the easiest one to bring up, but then there's other things, energy, love. Like, maybe at some points in some periods of a person's life, they're going to need you more. Maybe you're going to need them more. But you just trust that it evens out, as opposed to counting the favors of like, oh, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. You only did 3. Right? Because also, I've never thought about it in that perspective. The other person could misremember. They could think of it in a completely different manner. Right? Like with our friends, it's like, why let stupid stuff like money or like favors or anything like that like be the cause? Like, if somebody brings your energy down, that's something, right? That to me is something significant. But if it's just about trying to say like, I'm a better friend, that to me is the message that comes up when it's like, wait, I'm doing more for you.
It's actually this way of thinking is really helping, because back in the day before YouTube, I used to think like, what can I get? But after YouTube and after reaching out maybe to bigger creators, I started to think like, what can I give to them? I have nothing to give, so there is no reason for this friendship. And I start to feel maybe like the imposter syndrome was coming on, and that was something that I never ever experienced in my life, because I was never exposed to people who are better or maybe ahead in my, like in some sort of perspective. So I used to think that way, but after at some point, I just like feel like I'm just gonna be me. If they're gonna vibe with me, they're gonna vibe with me, and if they won't, they'll cut me off. Then that's totally fine with me. And yeah, I feel like looking at friendships in an opportunistic way is such a loss, because you cannot really build a genuine friendship like ours. Yeah.
Because I guess also there's all that mental energy you're like spending thinking about the whole like meta game of the friendship, when actually you don't need to worry about that, as long as everyone's treating each other with kindness and respect. What's the problem? Just keep giving.
Yeah, that's enough. I love that. Love that. All right, that's a good question. Well done. All right, what question are you?
Okay. Actually, why don't you go for it?
Wait, can I pick a new card?
Yeah, 100%.
You don't like your card?
I mean, I just didn't think that they're like to me,
they
like
weren't
they're not interesting, right?
They want the right vibe. You can pick another one. You can keep taking cards
until you like one.
Yeah.
I like how Matt's Apple Watch reminding him to go to bed. In bed.
We talked about how the 4 a.m. bedtime was not great. It's approaching 2 a.m. So it's very early compared to last night.
Yeah.
We've still got ages.
Okay.
We've got all night.
This one, I'm actually really, I want to hear from both of you on this one. So, do you think the best time in your life is in the past, present, or future?
I would always like to think that it's right now, because I feel like my life is always going upwards and upwards and upwards every day, and I feel like I'm becoming my better version every single second, and I can feel the growth and improvement in every aspect of my life. Let's say I gain like a lot of weight and stuff, and I'm not really studying, but still I'm learning something. So every opportunity, like every situation can turn into an opportunity, and it can turn into maybe a video, maybe some sort of an experience. So I feel like the best moment of my life is always right now. That would be my answer.
I like that.
Yeah, that's nice. Living in the present moment. Yeah, for me, I guess I have two answers to this question. I think probably on the very basic level, the almost carefree best moment of my life, I think, is in the past, honestly. I think my childhood, I was very blessed. I think, honestly, my parents created a household which was like so safe, supportive. They like treated me with respect. They taught me things every single day. And I was honestly so carefree. I had nothing to worry about. I was just existing, eating great food cooked by my mum, running around outside, terrorizing like other kids in the playground, and having a great time playing with my friends, right? That was my entire existence. So I feel like that was like the most pure, simple, potentially the best moment in that aspect. But I think the best moment, more in terms of fulfillment or meaning, is still coming. I think that is something you have to work for. That's not something you just experience as a kind of being, like experiencing like a kind of moment of bliss. It's something that's like, I think that's coming later. And I think it's in a way also important for me to believe it's coming later. So I actually do believe it's coming later at some point. I think I'm still growing, like I say, I'm growing and learning new things every single day. But I also think it's important to believe the best of your future, because obviously we don't know the future. Like I might not even survive to see tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like that's a potential. And like you say, that the present is all we really have. Like all we can really know is this moment. But I think just believing it's going to get better. I'm working towards this future goal. It was almost that aspiration is something that does drive me forward and does lift me up every single day.
Yeah, I resonate with that. I think because I believe future is going to be better, or like future is going to be good, that's why right now is the best moment for me. Because I know that and I believe that truly. Yeah, so I agree with that. What about you, Matt?
Do you ever think about, like, with the past bit, that we just generally remember the good? Because I was thinking about that, like, because do I resonate with the childhood bit, right? Where, like, that was the best time of life.
Yeah.
Like, I distinctly remember certain parts of childhood where I was like, oh my gosh, like, this was not fun. Like certain parts, whether it's, maybe I was being tormented by the other kids, right? On the playground, the Izzies of my life back then. Or it was just things of, yes, it was carefree, but it was also purposeless, right? Not really knowing,
exactly.
right? Like that idea of confusion of like, who am I? Like that sort of bit, right? Where it's like maybe glossing over those. It's easy to do whenever we're looking back.
Yeah.
Do you guys think of like...
Yeah, I think I completely agree with you on that. I think that's why I think like the best moment in terms of fulfillment or meaning is still coming. I don't think that was in the past. I think it's more like just in terms of being almost in an animalistic way, just as a kind of being on this earth, having all my needs taken care of, just being allowed to purely experience the world without any responsibility, without anything like that. It was probably the best just in terms of that. Almost like I was almost like a pet. You know what I mean? Like like pets, you feed them food, you groom them, you do everything, you give them a shelter, you make sure everything's fine for them, right? But they don't have that necessarily like that sense of meaning or what their purpose is in life. And I think that's still coming for me. And I think that's that distinction there. Like what is that best moment? Is that the best moment in terms of everything being taken care of? Is it the best moment in terms of meaning and purpose? Is it the best moment in terms of when you're at your peak performance? Or is it the best moment in terms of the point in your life where you're completely comfortable being yourself in your own skin and completely like self-actualized? Maybe that even comes at the very end of our journey. I feel like often it does, that moment of being really like comfortable in yourself and what you've done with your life. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I won't take us too far down the rabbit hole, but there was one thing that you said that made me think of a conversation I had last week, and the thing you said about pets. And I was talking to my one friend, and we've only met twice in person. We met on the Inca Trail, just in a group, and then we kept in touch ever since. She lives in the States. And so she has these two dogs. One of them, I forgot what the name of it. It's this beautiful big dog. It's a French dog. Starts with a B. I'll think of it later.
Basset hound?
No, it's really pretty. Not that basset hounds aren't pretty, but like I would define this dog as like regal.
Is it like a shaggy kind of?
Beauceron, but whatever. I'll look it up later.
Okay.
I'll put a picture of it. Boom, right on
Actually,
top
I
of
don't
this.
think basset hounds are even French. I think they're British.
Or
English.
But overall, like, she talked about this one dog, right? So it's a purebred dog, and she's has it now in shows, like to show off like dog shows, but then also training, right, to do herding and things like that. And what she talked to me about was like giving this dog a sense of purpose, because she said, Matt, what would it be like for you where you're just let outside and then it's carefree and then like you come back inside and like there's no purpose to that? Where she was talking about, like this dog now has its purpose, its drive, right? It's doing what it was actually bred for. And I had never thought about pets in that way before. So that's a quick side note.
Do you think the dog knows that that's its purpose though? Like that's another question. Like if you're just training a dog, does it recognize like, wow, I'm going to be the champion dog? Like does it think that? Or is it just like, oh, there's a treat. Oh, I'll make my companion really happy if I do this well.
Yeah, fair point.
To the dog, like what is their actual experience of that? Like do they experience that sense of purpose in the same way? Or is that a kind of like what we would like to imagine that they are experiencing?
So I think I have a tougher time thinking that they have purpose with like dog shows and such. Maybe it's my ignorance of that, but whenever it comes to like you look at herding dogs, I genuinely can believe that, because they're bred generations upon generations, right? Like a hunting dog that's going to go out with you, like go and getting right the animal as it fetches it, like that sort of thing. Maybe it doesn't still have like the same reasoning that we would, but there's something that's hardwired in that nature, right, of the dog to do certain things.
Yeah, I guess like that instinct in a way, that almost the dopamine response is like when it successfully herds, then it gets that like burst of like reward and like it feels like good about itself, because it's almost as ikigai, isn't it? Like this is like what I'm meant to be doing in a way, like that sense of flow for the dog. I see what you mean. Yeah.
So sorry, that was on a little thing, but back to it real fast. So I resonate with what you were saying there, where For me, it's definitely not the past, and that's just my personal experience and
Yeah.
all of that. Like, I never want it to be where I look at my life at any point and I say, man, I wish I was back there.
Yeah.
Because that to me would signify that I didn't live that experience as fully as I could, and
Yeah.
I'm not living my present moment as fully as I can.
Yeah.
Right? I want to say that the best is going to come in the future, but my only hesitation with that is even to a point that you brought up. And this is something I say literally every day. It's like, it could all end. It could all end in the next 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It could
Yeah.
all end in the next hour. It could all end tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, while I resonate with what both you said about, I definitely have that idea of like, well, I would hope that
Yeah.
the best is out there. Since that's not a promise, by default, for me, it has to be the present, right? This is that best moment.
Yeah.
Because if I take care of this moment, the future will take care of itself.
Here's a question though. So in the really hard moments, like let's say when I know you're really like hungry or like you're in pain or you're sick or those moments, do you still feel like that's your best moment?
I think so,
Like,
because
'cause how can you like feel or like really like believe that is your best moment when you know that compared to last week, you're not like at your peak. You're not feeling yourself as much as you were.
maybe I look at it, and I definitely agree. We have to come up with our like definition of what is best even mean.
Yeah.
But by default, I say like this is the only moment I have. So by default, it is the best
Yeah.
moment, right? Like because I think like those things in the past, like those aren't mine anymore,
Yeah.
right? I mean, even this moment, it can be argued like this isn't even mine to begin with. It's just whatever I'm like flowing through in the experience.
Yeah.
Right. So, and even in those ones, I think there are the lessons that we end up getting from those, right? Whether we're in pain, we're hungry. Like in my mind, I work to challenge it. I say, okay, so like, well, this is the time to grow because I'm not growing when things are easy. I'm just enjoying those ones.
Yeah.
But the growth is going to come in these ones. Like, can I go another hour without food? Remembering that there's billions of people who go days without it, right? Can I go with a little bit more pain? Because you know what? The majority of my life is so comfortable all the time.
Yeah.
So I think in those moments like that also helps me switch to it where, wow, pretty blessed to even get to experience this pain, if we can call it that.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. I guess like that thought of like this is the only moment, so then it is the best moment. Although I guess then again it's also the worst moment equally. It's all
Yes,
the moments, it's
it's everything.
everything all at once in one moment. All the memories are just memories, right? The future is a question mark, it's not promised. It might be gone. So yeah.
And I feel like when I'm at my worst point, let's say like, because a couple of years ago, I think the last 5 years, so like 2015 to 2020
Yeah.
were probably the worst years ever in my life, to family wise, financial wise, education wise, I think everything.
Yeah.
But at that moment, I was so pissed off towards life. Like, I hate my life so much. But then when I look back, I'm so glad that everything that I considered bad happened, because with the, working on them and just like seeing things actually differently really helped me to grow as a person, and they really allowed me to have a lot of opportunities. So now even something like bad happens, I'm kind of excited to grow on that and think about like what's this experience gonna bring me. And because like everything that happened bad really allowed me to be who I am right now. And I appreciate every single bad experience that I had.
Yeah, that's true, I guess, because they have kind of built you into the woman that you are today. Yeah.
So I'll ask on that point too. So knowing that you've gone through a period, right, that was so difficult for you, and how you came out the other side in this great position, how do you think that would influence your thinking if, say, another bad period comes up? Right? Hopefully not as bad as that, but it's also like as our circumstances get better, what we consider bad also gets like, right? Like it's more, it trickles up too. So how do you think you would be able to deal with that differently?
I think I'm more optimistic towards things, because when I actually don't really realize when things go bad, because they're not bad anymore for me, because there's nothing bad. So even though, like, for example, let's say the past Rudy would describe right now as kind of bad because I don't do anything. But at the same time, I'm enjoying this moment fully potentially, because I know that I have time to a bit escape from my responsibilities.
Yeah.
And I'll probably regret this moment. Or maybe I won't. But I feel like it gave me such opportunistic view to enjoy the moment. So even the things are bad, let's say my mental breakdowns, I was like filming them because I saw the opportunity. Like even I was like crying. I was so feeling bad, but at the same time, wait, I can use this B-roll because this looks so real. And I have like a literal 5-minute me crying B-roll, and there's like a music background. I was crying. So I think it allowed me to see things opportunistically.
Yeah, that's the mark of a true YouTuber.
Yeah, right.
When you record your breakdown,
I started crying. I was like, ran to my camera. I'm like, let's turn on. Just like start to cry.
Maybe this is a framework to see life. Everything is B-roll.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The good, the bad, and the ugly. Like everything is an opportunity to tell a story there.
Yeah.
Right? And like not being afraid to show that, because one, that's memorializing that part of life, but then it gives it a purpose, right? Like that so that breakdown, the purpose of that was B-roll for a video.
Yeah.
But how can we frame everything like, all right, the purpose of the pain is this, right? The purpose of the joy is that.
Yeah. Actually, there's a viral video from Eurojunk. I think she's like, somebody got into her apartment, but they didn't steal anything or something. I think it has more than 3 million views. Yeah. After seeing that video, I was actually kind of excited to move to my apartment so that if somebody broke into my apartment, I can film a video. So, yeah, actually, there's like a really famous YouTuber in Japan saying that since I'm a YouTuber and since I have like YouTube right now, anything bad will generate money for me because I can create video about of it. Yeah. So he's like really excited for bad things to happen. So I feel like it's such a positive, it's such an optimistic way to look at life. Yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. And obviously we're not seeking out.
Yeah, for sure.
Not leaving your door unlocked.
No.
Right. With a sign that says, I'm gone. Right? Vacant.
Come in.
Yeah. There is no expensive camera equipment in here.
Right. And it's also...
Do not break in. There is no reward here.
And it's also not one where we're like glorifying the pain. But we're just reframing it, as you said, right? It's like nothing is, it goes to that point of like by virtue of us only having one moment, everything is the best and worst. But why do we even need to place judgments on it? Yeah. Right? Something bad happens. Well, why are we even calling it bad? It's just something happened. And then afterwards, we're assigning these thoughts to it. And it's really cool. I like how you mentioned how now it's like your just general framework is more to being like that optimistic one, where that is, like we can kind of see how in general, if we think about life as the opportunities, everything shifts. It's not just one or two areas, it's every part of it. Before we keep going, a quick message from us.
So Easy has a Patreon. I'll link it somewhere else. Sign up, and she also has like an exclusive Telegram group, which I'm also in.
Yeah, so if you see a sushi and you see some good juju, it may or may not be us.
So like it's
Matt, you're giving away all the secrets.
We're not saying anything that much. We're just like sending poop emojis, but think about it. It's such a great opportunity to connect with us. Like on a Telegram chat group, all of us are there.
Yeah, it's true. Actually, all of us.
I'm not giving you my phone number, but you can message me. Think about that. You can message Matt. You can message Easy. I think it's time to sign up.
Now, back to the episode.
I really want to know both of your answers to this, but I'll start with Marie. Okay. Do you think you would have been a very different person if you had different parents?
I definitely think so. Definitely think so. I feel like my personality and the way I think, majority comes from my parents, or not say like my parents directly, but the background that my parents have. Yeah. Because I come from a very international background and so many different ways of thinking and how they think, even like seeing how different they are from each other really made me realize there is no correct answer in life about something, because something considered to be good in my my dad's side wouldn't necessarily consider good in my mom's side. So seeing that, I think, made me more open-minded, and these days I realize I'm actually not that open-minded because I moved to a new country and my comparison is like now huge. So But still, for an average, I don't know, single like cultured people, I feel like I'm more open minded. There is still place to grow, but I do feel like it because I grew up with two languages, two cultures, and when I made the video of it, it's my first viral video. Even talking about the experience, there were a lot of people who resonated with that, and I think there is something common in people who grew up internationally. I think it's something actually in our friendship too.
Yeah.
We all have different backgrounds and a lot of cultures and a lot of different ways of thinking, and I think that's one of the reasons why we click. So I definitely think if I would had different parents, I don't think I would be like Rudy, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a really good point. That is another thing that really unifies us, where we're different in a lot of ways from, at least we're different culturally than the places where we grew up.
Yeah.
Or maybe our family history, I should say. I
Yep.
don't know how to really put that,
Yeah.
but you're picking up what I'm
Yeah,
putting
it's like
down.
kind of mixing. There's almost like a third
Right.
culture kid, right? Like
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
kind of the culture that of our parents, or at least one of our parents, isn't the culture of the place that we grew up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And or in the case, maybe both parents have very different cultures.
Yep.
As well. Yeah, which I guess that does influence like the way that we grow up and the kind of the people that we become. And I'd be interested to hear your take on this, Matt. Like, what do you think about that? How does that fit in with your life?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody would be different based off the parents
Yeah.
that they have, whether their parents were involved in their lives,
Yeah.
whether they weren't involved in their lives, whether it's one, it's two, it's whatever. Just because, and I don't know, like maybe this goes with like the nature nurture sort of thing, right? In my head, yeah, there's the nature part from our parents and our culture, but so much of that is nurture
Yeah.
of the way that they raise us and the way that they interact
Yep.
with us.
Yep.
And there's no way to separate that, because for every single person, and actually maybe it's whoever you define your parents, whether it's your biological parents, it's the ones that raised you, right? It's your grandparents who are there, whatever that is. At some point, every single one of us were vulnerable and reliant on adults to take care of us.
Yeah.
Right. And then we absorbed everything that was there.
Yeah.
We absorbed the words, the language that they used, like their demeanor, all that stuff. So yeah, we would all be so different.
Yeah.
Right. There's no way to be able to separate that sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. I feel like one of the things about being human is being able to learn and adapt to your environment so
Yep.
much. Like a baby is just so ready to learn and like just absorb the whole world around it and fit into the society that's been born in. And obviously our parents are a huge contributor to that. And yeah, I completely agree with that. In what ways do you think that you might have been different? Like what did each of your parents bring to you that you can identify or like really see clearly? Or is it kind of a bit too hard to see that? Because almost, I guess, being so close to it, it might be hard to really separate that out.
What do you think?
No,
Riri?
no, you go
Yeah.
first.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say there's two main traits from each of my or there's one main trait from each of my parents that
Yeah.
I really that really stick with me, and
Yeah.
these are maybe I'll say the most positive ones because, and frankly, there's also negative ones because
Yeah.
there's those parts, but to me that's not really the focus. At one point my mom said, "Hey, from both of us, take the good, leave the bad for the next generation. Just bring the good stuff and get
Yeah.
better and better and better." And so from my dad, it's this idea of family being first and really showing
Yeah.
that through actions, not just words.
Yeah.
Where showing up pretty much to every practice, every violin rehearsal, every game, every tournament, like all of those things, right? In that way where he made it very clear. It's like, yeah, like it's about kids and like I want the flexibility schedule, all that sort of thing. So that's definitely something where, yeah, I want to have success in different fields or whatever, but never at the expense of family. And from my mom, it's this ability to listen. She's the best listener that I know. And that always made me feel so loved and accepted. And it's those listening skills that I've gotten from her that I'm still working to get better and better at are the main reason why I would say I have the supportive friends, because that to me is one of the biggest gifts I can give to them. So it's those two factors that I see so clearly in the way that they live. It wasn't explicitly told, hey, do this, but it was through their actions, especially now that I moved home as an adult, I can see even more so. That's what I've loved from both of them.
I think for my mom, seeing the opportunities in life, because my mom like always tells me that there's nothing bad in life. You're just seeing it from wrong perspective.
Yeah.
And my dad is pretty pessimistic, and my mom is super optimistic. So even if he would like say, I don't know, he's generally saying like really negative things, and my mom would turn these sentences into really optimistic ones.
Yeah.
And she would change my dad's mood.
Yeah.
And she would say that you're not appreciating this. Like, remember. And seeing that, I think, really allowed me to see opportunities in life. And, you know, even if you're crying, just take out your camera and film a B-roll, that type of a vibe. And I think for my dad, that's actually something that I'm still trying to learn, is that being more open to strangers.
Yeah.
So, and like welcoming them into family. Actually, we had like a couple of people who literally became some sort of like a part of our family, because I think it comes from like more Japanese tradition or something. But as a kid, I used to believe that if our blood is not connected, then we're not family. But it's not true, because there are so many forms of families. You know, you can be adopted, you can adopt someone, or you can maybe not even like have any relationship to them, but you can feel like maybe more closer than your family. So my dad never ever believed that blood is the only way that connects people. So I think that's one of the things that I learned from my dad.
I like that. What about you, Ez? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd say the thing from my mum was probably how 110% she is supportive of the family and everything that we do. Like, she is one of the most self-sacrificing people that I know of, and it doesn't necessarily come off like that straight away, because she's also like extremely honest with us, with my sister, my dad, and me, which can come off like as not necessarily being like the stereotypical like only saying nice things. She'll say it how it is, but everything that she does is to like support us and to help us live our best lives. And I really appreciate that. And actually, there's times that she will sacrifice her own things or her own life or her own comfort for us, and not even tell us. She won't even tell us what she sacrificed, and she'll just do it. And that's something that I think as I've grown older, I've grown to really appreciate, because I know not everyone's lucky enough to have a mum like that. I think from my dad, I think one of the things that I really grew a lot from was actually the way that he would intellectually stimulate me and sort of challenge me on ideas. So I remember every single night when I was a kid, when he was tucking me into bed, we would always have a chat. We would call it a chat. And if he'd start to forget, I was like, wait, no, come back for the chat. Where are you going? And the chat would be about like anything, basically. But usually it was sort of things about science or the world or different countries or languages or all sorts of things like that. And he would teach me about, like, when I was like 6 or 7 years, like maybe 6 years old, he would be telling me about atoms and about physics, about the solar system, about how all these things worked. And I would be so filled with like awe and amazement at all of this knowledge. I mean, wow, like my dad is like the smartest person in the world. That kind of feeling. And every single night, like learning from him and him challenging me in those ways. And I think that really grew my mind and made me into, it kind of developed my curiosity about the world and helped me to get to where I am today. So I'd say that's how both my parents have contributed to me. Obviously, so many other aspects as well. Like we've talked about, like our whole upbringing is very much influenced by our parents. But those two things really stand out to me as some of like the big positives that came from each of them. Yeah.
All right, for the 6 people that would be our parents.
Yeah.
Just know, if you're watching this, we love you so much.
Yeah,
and
we love
appreciate you. Like, I'm gonna have tears in my eyes. See, like we appreciate you so much. I know I'm speaking on behalf of Izzy and Rory too.
No, thank you.
Yeah. And also for whomever you call your parents, right? Whether biological, adopted, somebody else in your life, tell them you love them today. Tell them why you love them too, specifically. Because speaking for myself, I don't tell my parents enough the specific reasons why I'm appreciative of them. Right? The specific reasons why I just love having them in my life so much.
Yeah. I feel like that too. I think I tell my parents almost every day that I love them, but I don't necessarily tell why I love them.
Yeah.
So maybe we should do it more.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a time to just to say thank you for you listeners. We said this probably in another video, but maybe you didn't watch that one, or maybe we never released it. But we didn't realize till we took this break how much people were resonating, how much you all wanted these videos to come out.
Yeah.
And it really touched us, right? To know that there are people who are actually looking out for this thing that is just a silly little project that three friends decided to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're sorry about that. We're sorry we weren't responsive and stuff. Let us also know down in the comments, like, what are the things that you want us to talk about? What are the things that you're curious about that you want to have these sorts of conversations about? Because we can't promise that we'll do it, but to be able to have this is what we're trying to form. We're trying to form a community here of real conversations where we're just being open, we're being ourselves. And there may be some fun stuff in the future. Who knows?
Yeah.
All right,
And with
now
that, let's wrap, I guess. So that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for listening. And as Matt said, let us know what you'd like to see next. We look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Oh,
Wow,
that was
that
so
was
much
good.
fun.
That was so much fun. Watch, and then none of the recording was recorded.